But today was bad. Light work, people. Light work. Seems we're soft all over the pitch.
Hello, folks. How are we doing tonight? How are we doing? It is the Benfica against Liverpool pre-match on Grizcan TV. As you can see, Grizcan is not in the building right now. And actually, the usual crowd, we're not all here. You recognise myself and Omar, who have both stepped in to do the Monday night show tonight. But everyone else we've had to do a last-minute show to get it organised. But you know what? We love the community. We had to get it done. Before we get into things, just wanted to introduce the two. I've not met one of them, and one of them's came just an hour ago. So firstly, Alex, the Euro expert. I know you've been on Omar's show, Young Bucks, a few times, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good because Carl Channel was one of my favourite ones. I feel more at home. I feel like hopefully the people watching, I'm not too much of a new face.
No, exactly, mate. Well, I like you on Twitter. I've actually realised I followed you earlier on Twitter, so I like your tweets. So yeah, there you go, mate.
Thank you.
So I'm the one who's actually starstruck right now.
We've got a famous man in the building.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll follow you back right now.
Yeah, no, cheers, mate.
Yeah, and me, mate.
Yeah. But as well, Johnny, I have to say, thanks very much for coming on, mate. We've only reached out to Johnny about in the last hour and a half. I was at 5-a-side, hence why I'm a bit sweaty when this occurred. So thanks for coming on, mate, to be the Benfica correspondent today. So really appreciate that, mate.
Yeah, no worries. It's a pleasure talking about Champions League football.
No, exactly. And how are you doing today? Has it been a busy one? Or are you okay?
Yeah. Finished work at 4, and then I was studying 6 till 8. So that was a bit of.
I've been there, mate. I've been there, mate. Just get through it until you get a degree, and then it's just honestly, mate, forget about it after that. But yeah, we'll crack on and just go straight into, I think, the home side for tomorrow's game, and then talk about Benfica. And as the first time on the show, Johnny, I'll just go straight to yourself, mate. Is there any?
Yep.
Just thinking about Benfica in general, mate. As I say, I know it's your family's team. Just general thoughts on Benfica and how they've been getting on this season and in the Champions League.
Look, the Champions League campaign's been a bit of a surprise, considering the drama and the politics that always surround Benfica. So the president got arrested earlier in the season, so that was a little bit of a spanner in the works earlier in the season, and then the manager got sacked, and it was just a massive hoo-ha. But it's Benfica all over. So I'm not really expecting much from them tomorrow. Darwin is the man everyone talks about. Rafa Silva is one that people should keep an eye on, because Rafa Silva can turn up in big games at big moments. Everton, just like the team, he sometimes can play well, but most of the time disappoints. So yeah, those are the main threats.
Before you guys continue, I would love to add in. Last time I was on here was to cover Inter, and we had a resident Inter fan as well. And I think it was Jamie, might have been. And I was worried he would correct everything I was saying. I'd had everything wrong, but we'd agreed on everything. And early doors, what I had written down in big notes was, forget Nuñez, watch Rafa Silva. And I'm happy I've been confirmed early on. I hope we get to talk a lot about him.
I mean, I'm trying to remember what game it was at the Euro last year. No, I'm thinking back to the Euro last year. Portugal were playing really rubbish, and Rafa Silva comes on. I think it might have been against Germany. Anyway, it was one of them. And Rafa Silva comes on and he changes the game. He literally only got called up because Pedro Neto was injured, pretty much. Otherwise, he would have gone.
Yeah, and I feel like in the meantime, while we get into it more, people, if they have a second screen, should watch Benfica v Estoril, which happened recently, and Rafa Silva scored, like, no joke, an Eden Hazard level goal. Like, if you remember the one he scored against Arsenal, where he, like, from the halfway line took on like 4 players, that good, and not the keeper, amazing.
Rafa Silva is incredible. He's I reckon it's probably, I don't know if I would say it's his best season. His best season for me was when Bruno Lage was in charge, and he was predominantly
large and in charge. We like him in this channel.
When he was in charge of Benfica, when he took over from Vitória, João Felix and Rafa Silva were incredible. They were just it was spectacular to watch. It's no wonder John Felix left in the summer because that duo were incredible, and they actually made Seferovic look good, so that's always a bonus.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, but on that Rafa Silva as well, I know he's Grizz actually himself tweeted about him the other day. So as you said, Grizz will love Rafa Silva, and we just spoke about this off screen, but does not like Darwin Nuñez. So if Grizz is watching, it's like Jekyll and Hyde with that. We all like Darwin Nuñez, but Grizz just doesn't like him. He's got his agenda against him. So when Liverpool sign him, that'll be quite awkward. I don't think that'll happen. But
I don't see Liverpool signing him. I would hope he's intelligent and doesn't go to a United, because United sign big forwards and they ruin them.
United ruin most of the players they sign, mate, to be honest.
So if I had to pick a team for him, honestly, it would be Arsenal. Honestly, I feel like the best place for him would be Arsenal.
Well, obviously they were looking at Vlahovic and they never got him, so they will be looking for number 9 with Lacazette looking likely to go in the summer as well. So, interesting point, mate. There might be something in that in the summer. But on that, then you'd say Rafa Silva and Nuñez are the ones to look out for tomorrow, the danger men. Yeah,
in midfield, there's not really much going on with Benfica. I still feel like they didn't address midfield enough. Weigl is there. Weigl's a good player. We all know Weigl from the years and years he was linked with us because he's a Dortmund player, and Dortmund players get linked with Liverpool. But he's done all right in Portugal. I feel like I like that comment. Everton by name, Everton by nature. He's a good little player. Adel Taarabt is one that I never expected to.
I've got that written down. I've got that written down. So we'll talk about that now. The streets won't forget. That was my full section on Adel Taarabt.
Yeah,
he's playing DM. Is he playing DM now or centre mid? Is it DM? He's actually playing.
He's more like he's a bit somewhere between a 6 and an 8. Like he actually tackles. I mean, this is news to me. Like seeing him at Benfica again. I'll go back to Laj. Laj brought him in towards the end of the season one year, and everyone's thinking, he's playing him just to play up the price to sell him. But no, he just kept on playing. And George Jesus came back to Benfica. The second coming of Jesus wasn't good in this instance. And he just he played him in midfield, and he's been all right. Do you know what?
It's worth saying as well, like, I think Adel Taarabt, we all think of the nutmegs and the skills, but like there is reason to put him that deep in midfield, because when you've got someone who's so gifted at taking it past players, it means like you park him deep, he can effectively propel Benfica up the pitch like at super speed. There's a lot of those good reason in it.
I mean, if he goes for a long pass over the top to Darwin, I don't think we'll have many issues with Virgil at the back, but he still has his moments of flair. I don't think Liverpool will give him enough time on the ball, though. I think he'll be, if they start him tomorrow, which I think they will, because he was in the press conference today, I think he could be in a bit of trouble. I would pick João Mario and Weigl in midfield tomorrow.
Oh, Julian Weigl, what throwback!
Yeah, it was João Mario as well. That's the João Mario who played for. He didn't win the Euros, didn't he?
He won the Euro. I think he went to Inter on the back of that. Was absolutely pants, and then West Ham was pants again.
Pellegrini with West Ham.
I think it's Sporting after as well, maybe. Before.
So he went to Sporting last season and won their first league title in 19 years, I think it was. Everyone expected
after Bruno Fernandes left, just to add that.
After Bruno Fernandes left, they recruited well to replace him. João Mario came in on loan, and everyone expected Sporting to make it a permanent in the summer. For one reason or another, it didn't happen, and he ended up at Benfica. And Benfica, despite all the mishaps they've had this season, that was one of the few things they did right. Yeah,
no, it's very good, and I feel like as well. Just a quick segment on Adel Taarabt. When I think of him, I don't think of. I actually think that it's the ability. Like if you watch his championship season, I know it's the championship, but genuinely, like it was just ridiculous. He just, when people actually can take the mick out of players like that and be effective as well. I think he scored 18 goals that season, lots of assists. It's unbelievable. Yeah. But the one thing is, just a quick story on Adel Taarabt. When he used to train for QPR, he had another side to him that was probably off the field. So what he used to do, I think this is Charlie Austin's story. He used to go to training, right? And as soon as he left training, so before training, he would go to after training, he'd go to his bed, go home, go to sleep, get up at like 10 o'clock, go out all night, and then go to training from the casino. Like, and just do that every night. And apparently that's true. So it just shows you obviously he's matured a bit later on in life, and he's obviously getting a bit more regular game time now.
Yeah, he's settled in Portugal. You know, I mean, he's not the player he used to be. We know that, but I can't fault his commitment. He's obviously been kept in the side for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always had the talent as well. Always had the ability. If at times football was too easy for him, I think one of those players, you know, had a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, it was. And I think he got a bit of a wake-up call in Portugal because I think he was loaned out for a bit whilst a Benfica player. He was loaned out for 2 or 3 years whilst being a Benfica player. He made his first appearance under Bruno Lage like 3 years after he was signed. So,
listen, at least he's getting there now. But it's an absolute throwback.
Yeah.
But on that from Benfica, and that's your point of view, Johnny. Thanks very much. But I wanted to kind of move on to Alex here and we'll talk about the defensive side that you can maybe say is an area of concern, and we Liverpool fans will look at it as a weakness from Benfica, and that's you've got Vertonghen and you had Otamendi there. Now, Alex, I wanted to get your opinion on that and just your general thoughts on our defence.
Yes, I've got quite a strong opinion on Benfica's defence. Well, they're interesting. To paint a bit of a broader picture, Johnny mentioned about Jorge Jesus, their former coach now who was sacked. I think it was November or December 2021. Yeah. He had like a bit more of a idea to shift into a back three. If you go on most lineups of Benfica, it sees a 4-4-2, kind of shift a bit more into a back three. I think earlier at times as well they'd start in that. And if you look at the league table, people watching, you probably see Benfica, like their defense isn't that bad. For example, I think I don't know how many games they've played off the top of my head, but it'd be late 20s games, and they've conceded about 27 goals worth of XG, which that sounds really good. But this is meant to be one of the big three in Portugal. Like these teams are meant to be far and ahead of everyone else. And you look at Porto and Sporting, and they've conceded, I think, 6 or 7 goals less, both in reality and XG. And from watching them a bit more recently under their caretaker manager, I think it's Verissimo, sorry. What you can kind of see is like what I've noticed personally, positioning's all over the place. There's been a few games recently where like they should be conceding more goals. They've been bailed out by the goalkeeper because Otamendi and Vertonghen are just sort of on different offside lines, really, or defensive lines. And that's something I've noticed. I think they could be torn apart by Liverpool. On the other hand, they are probably one of the few teams in the Champions League, I think, this season who've played wildly different to how they would in the league. In the league, they've got the second most average possession, very dominant, play a high line, and that's probably what let them down earlier in the year. In the Champions League, they've got the second lowest possession, and they also make, I think, like the 5th lowest tackles per 90, which kind of shows not only are they sitting very deep, but they're letting teams come onto them. So there's a bit more. What I'm basically saying is take Benfica in the league with a bit of a pinch of salt. Perhaps they're a little more solid in the Champions League, but overall, definitely quality-wise, individual-wise, and organisation-wise, there's reason for a Liverpool fan to be sort of salivating at the lips. Yeah,
well, I'd say the obvious ones as well is as you look at the centre backs and potentially if it's Otamendi or Vertonghen, that just with the 3 of the 5 attackers we've got on our front three who we choose, any selection of those 3 is going to cause them problems tomorrow night, and I think we can all agree on that. Now, just on Benfica then, what do you think, Johnny? What do you think? Well, actually, Omar, I'll give you a chance. Do you want to step in on any additional thoughts on Benfica before we do our predicted starting lineup?
Yeah, I've got a lot of thoughts. Yeah, I mean, like Alex said, on the weekend, Vertonghen and Otamendi were standing on the halfway line. I don't think we're gonna. I don't think we're gonna be seeing that.
That's not gonna happen. There's no point talking about. There's no. If they do that, then it's
just it's horrendous. Trent's got about 10 assists in the first half. I was looking at the stats from the Ajax game because I think that's the best sort of game to go off. They had 4 shots. They had I think 1 on target, which was a goal. they had 30% possession.
And their shots basically all came from corners as well.
Yeah. So look, whether Otamendi and Vertonghen want to stand on the halfway line or if they want to stand on the edge of their box.
I think it'll be the latter.
I'm not worried because I've seen us. It's weird because I've seen us go to Porto in the last 16 and like the quarters before and smash it. I've seen us go to many stadiums and smash it, and I think we're on a level now where perhaps early in the Jurgen Klopp era, this game would have been tricky. But I am gonna throw it out there and say I'm very, very confident. And if there was any draw that Liverpool could have got, every fan would have said, "Oh, Benfica." Doesn't mean, "Oh my God, it's a guaranteed win," because it's football. Anything can happen. But
I think a lot of fans would have said Ajax or Benfica, to be honest, because at least with Ajax as well, listen, they're going to chance to score, but you know the game plan and you're going to get space. So I think any winner of that tie would have been the preferred option for us.
I think with Benfica, the worrying thing is they do have people like Rafa Silva and Everton who have shown and have stepped up in these sorts of games. I'm unsure about the pivot of Weigl and Taarabt. I don't think it's, like Johnny was saying, I don't think it's robust or dynamic enough.
Or in transition as well. Transition. Especially in transition.
I just feel like they're going to get it wrong.
It's almost like it's that old like Jurgen Klopp Dortmund tactic where almost he'd let the opposition have the ball to allow us to counter press. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of our chances came from flying into them in the screen and sort of turning over the ball and getting people like Salah and Mane on their bike and sort of going. But it depends what team Klopp throws out as well, because we'll touch on it. But we have the City game on the weekend, and that might play a role.
I might say as well. I mean, from watching a sort of similar team to Benfica in the way they play would be Lille a lot over the past couple of seasons. In the very, very, very big games, like against the Lille, it'd be against the PSGs, the Chelseas. They would have a tendency to play like a third midfielder off the wing, like usually be Renato Sanchez. Yeah. So if there's going to be a tactical surprise, maybe if Benfica are really trying to overload Liverpool, because I think surely they're going to be looking at that as well and thinking Taarabt and Weigl, that's going to be the biggest test of their life. They might throw Taarabt maybe off the right or the left rather, because Silva plays on the right, and then bring in João Mario so that way you can form a three midfield when necessary. Might be something to consider. Might not happen.
No, I think that's a good point, mate, because I think we've all said in this channel, we've praised Brighton's performance at Anfield, and one of the main reasons was he basically took away the striker position and put Trossard's false nine and tried to overload or outcompete our midfield in a transition, and it worked. And I'm not saying everyone can do that, but that's probably been the best tactic I've seen so far. It's not easy to perform, so I think that's a very good point. But just on that then, Johnny, what do you think the formation will be tomorrow for Benfica?
Going by recent, it'll be some sort of variation of 4-4-2, I think, or a 4-3-3 could be. Earlier in the season, it was more 3-4-3s, and that was I was going to call him JJ, George Mitrovic. That's everyone just called him JJ. They play a 3-4-3 with Vertonghen wouldn't always play, but Otamendi would play, and Lucas Verissimo, who is a very good centre back. Liverpool are lucky he's injured, because he's a very good centre back. And yeah, I think it will be a 4-3-3. João Mario probably, Taarabt and Weigl in midfield, or Mété. One of Mété or Taarabt, I think, and then Everton, Rafa and Darwin. Yeah. The one thing I haven't mentioned are the fullbacks. So Gilberto's good solid right back. I don't think whoever plays at left wing tomorrow should have an issue with him. But Grimaldo, he's good getting forward on the left, and he's good from a set piece as well. He can score free kicks, he can deliver free kicks. So it's one of those, if he whips one in, Darwin gets his head on it, they could make the game a little bit more interesting. But then we've got Virgil.
To give a bit of a fun background to that as well, on Johnny's point. So, I've sat in the comments before and heard European football, and even I find it interesting. I've gone just trying to relate that to my own. If you remember FIFA 20, when Alex Grimaldo was getting, or it might be FIFA 19, Alex Grimaldo was getting a bunch of informs, and that was when people were linking him all over the gaff. That's because under Bruno Lage, it was in like the second half of that season, 18-19. He got over 10 assists.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
He's got the capability to be damaging, basically. That's what I'm getting across.
I think the only thing stopping Barcelona buying him is because he's not a big name, and B, they can't afford him. Well, he's a graduate from their academy, so it's a no-brainer. But
so was Emerson Royale, to be fair, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
No, I'm only joking. I actually don't know if he was, but I find it fascinating fullbacks now. You're either great at apart maybe about 10 fullbacks, but a lot it seems to be the great at attacking, but susceptible defensively, or the opposite. Which is quite mad, to be honest, when that's your position to be a fit, but it seems to be the way of it at the moment.
When Telles was in the Portuguese league playing for Porto, there was a bit of a competition between Telles and Grimaldo. And being Benfica fan, they always thought Grimaldo was better, and I still maintain that. So I'm surprised Grimaldo's still at Benfica, because he could have left a long time ago.
He left on my FIFA 20 career mode. He joined me at RB Leipzig, and he was a regular at left back and was really good on a free kick. So.
See, I knew that FIFA link could provide some relation. I knew it.
Good insight there.
An assist from you.
Yes.
I like
I won't forget that name. So see if he gets an assist tomorrow, it'll be like Johnny said that. So that's exactly a good point, mate. But on that then, so just to go over the defence again, so you think it will be Gilberto, Grimaldo on the left, and who's the two centre backs?
We'll probably see Otamendi and Vertonghen. When I saw them, I mentioned to you earlier, when I saw them both signing for Benfica last summer, I thought, oh my God, I can't bear the sight of Otamendi. One, he was useless for Man City, and two, he used to play for Porto. But he's actually been the better of the pair, and he's bailed Benfica out a few times, but he still makes a silly mistake.
He's erratic. That's the type of defender he is. He's an erratic defender.
He was a direct replacement for Ruben Diaz. Now, you imagine how raging I was when that happened.
Oh yeah, Ruben. Oh damn, sorry, mate.
Yeah, it was rough, but he's not done too badly. Like I said, Benfica's best centre back is Verissimo, and he's not there.
So he's done a decent job.
Yeah, he's done.
I was going to add into Vertonghen as well. Like backs up Johnny's point about Otamendi being better. I think it was at the weekend with Braga. I was keeping a good eye on these two defenders, and I could see Vertonghen trying to direct I think it's direct Grimaldo into position. Might have been Grimaldo, one other player, and as he did so, he veered about 5 yards back off his defensive line, which ended up leading to like a big chance. So again, that's another example. I think Vertonghen he must be like 33 or 4 now.
Yeah, I remember. I remember Portugal playing Belgium in the Euro. I think it was in the last 16. And I just thought they had Vertonghen, they had Vermaelen, and I think it was the Vireld at the back. It was at the back three, and I'm thinking, surely we can do something here. Surely we can beat him. Do you think we did? No. After watching a season of Vertonghen stink out Stade de Liège, I thought they'd have a chance, but no.
It's back three tax, isn't it? We saw it with Thiago Silva on the weekend. But...
Yeah. It is the back three tax. Honestly, a back three can make an old man like Vertonghen look good.
Yeah, good management, isn't it? Roberto Martinez masterclass. But on just the last part on Benfica before we move to Liverpool, guys, what do you think the tactics will be tomorrow? Because it could be easy. I've watched a bit of Benfica and I could just think, they'll do a low block to a certain extent. For me, what's your thoughts? And I'll start with Alex, and Johnny, I can get your thoughts. Alex, how do you think Benfica will approach this game tomorrow?
Oh, you stole my intro of low block, sit back and hope for the best. But no,
it's quite a common one, mate. I didn't even have to look at a preview. I could have just said that and plucked it.
But of course, there is a bit more variation. I think Nuñez we haven't spoken too much on so far, And this is a guy who's a top scorer in Portugal. He's got 22 goals. And for context, I was going to mention earlier, Rafa Silva, big reason we're hyping up. He's got 15 assists in the league. And Nuñez has got 4 goals in the Champions League. And what makes Nuñez, for the people who haven't seen him too much, I spent the last half an hour before this stream trying to think of good comparisons. And he reminds me a bit like Moise Kean and Lukaku, where technique, I'm not sure is 100% there. He can take quite big loose touches, but just having him on the pitch, he's so physical, so strong, and so quick. Like really quick acceleration, which I think Lukaku doesn't particularly have, which means that Benfica can put direct balls up to him or in behind him, and it can be a big threat for whoever's marking. Even Van Dijk. I think this is going to be quite an interesting battle. So I think the tactics will definitely revolve around Nuñez and maybe pushing. I think I'm right to say pushing Rafa up to maybe play off him a bit and do his magic. It revolve around those two.
It is an outlet, mate. Listen, some teams, I think the form of Van Dijk right now is easy to maybe brush that off, but it is an outlet, and you've seen teams try to pass it out and get caught by our press. So I'm not saying it definitely will work tomorrow, but there's definitely not at the current form of Liverpool's defence, but there has been success in the past of getting a team up the park like that. It's quite a straightforward tactic, but if the guy can take the ball down and allow like Rafa Silva to get in the ball, to be honest, I don't think you have to be as arrogant the word or snobbish towards it. I think if it works and if what you are saying about Nuñez, that'll be an interesting one to watch tomorrow. Usually when we say this, it usually gets brushed off, and it was the same with Martinez last time until he fired a 25-yarder on the top corner. So anything can happen, so it'll be interesting to watch. Sorry, Alex, I didn't mean to cut you in. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Just trying to think a bit more. They do. I guess the other thing would be, do they have options from the bench? I mean, I don't think he's injured for this. Johnny Button, if I remember, Roman Yaremchuk, who's in the Champions League, he's got 2 goals. He scored against Barcelona. I did just read that off the right. And in the league, he hasn't really hit the numbers, but this is a guy in Belgium last season I paid close attention to. It's a Ukrainian striker who hit over 20 goals. He's similar to Nuñez in terms of, I guess, physicality, how tall they are, but he's a lot more of I think, relies on his positioning and gets into good positions. And though he hasn't hit the ground completely running, if he comes off the bench, maybe might start up front with Nuñez. He's someone that Liverpool defenders should just keep an eye on. He's not in the best of form, but he can find a good pocket of space. And if he has got the capability to finish on both feet as well, he's quite both-footed. Yeah,
interesting. We want to look out for tomorrow. And just, Johnny, last part on Benfica. How do you think they'll approach the game tactically tomorrow? As you said, we're probably assuming they're going to be quite deep and try and counter us. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, you'd be right. It's pretty much going to be very much that. I mean, you look on Darwin, look at the weekend. Benfica started without him and João Mario, and they went 2-0 down. Darwin comes on, scores a penalty, and then assists the goal for João Mario. I think it was João Mario. So he is absolutely a game changer. And then they still have Yaremchuk on the bench. Seferovic, I don't think it's going to be much of an issue. I forgot to mention him earlier, but Gonzalo Ramos as well. He's a young player who could maybe do something. I think the game will be too big for him. But yeah, it will revolve around Darwin, and I think Rafa may sneak in the odd chance. I think he could sneak, because our fullbacks sometimes can, they can go forward, and if the midfield doesn't cover, you could get a runner. But our offside trap is so good these days. I don't see Benfica getting too much tomorrow.
One final point on Nuñez that I've got to mention, I found quite interesting. Just some people were interested in young upcoming players. Last season, some people who follow me might know that I do a lot of note taking during matches. And last season, about halfway through, I went through every league in Europe, like above the Serbian leagues. So like went through Liga NOS, Eredivisie, everywhere, and I noted down like interesting players and what they were doing. And I noted Nuñez down. I think his first season in Portuguese football. And I saw he's converting his chances into goal conversion 8%, which is like lower than Timo Werner pretty much. Very low. This season, up at 32%, which would be one of the best in Europe. like higher than Lewandowski at the moment, which really shows how in a year he's like
some rise that.
Yeah, it's tripled his output.
That's one in three.
Yeah,
That's
he
so
arrived.
good.
He arrived in Portugal last summer. I think he came from the second division in Spain, and he was a record transfer, and not just for Benfica, but I believe for the Portuguese league, which was about 22 million euros. And he started off really well, but then he dropped off for a bit. He got injured for a bit. I think he got COVID as well, and then he sort of finished the second half of the season all right. You know, the talent was there; it was clear. So him doing as well as he is now isn't a huge surprise. Yaremchuk has had a similar season to Darwin's last season. He started off really well as well, but he's dropped off. But Yaremchuk hasn't got age on his side.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And just to add a few comments before that, says thanks for all your thoughts on Benfica, guys. Just Philip H in the comments said Benfica have 7 players that if they get a yellow tomorrow, they'll miss the second leg. Our chat are always on it with the points as well, so that's an interesting one as well. Thanks, Philip, for that. And also Jose said that Nuñez has the highest speed in the Champions League and even higher than Walker apparently recorded. So yeah, that is pretty rapid if you're faster than a guy who's faster, who Kylian Mbappe is scared to take on. So there you go. But yeah, great points, folks. Anything else? I think we've covered a lot of Benfica, and we can get to Liverpool now if everyone's happy with that. So let's talk about, we're all Liverpool fans here and we're looking forward to the game. Or just in general, he's excited for the game tomorrow. He's nervous. What's your thoughts towards the tie?
It's like, it's not quite, but like it's similar. You know, when you're like on the verge of, it's Christmas Eve, and all that, like whatever, like all the great stuff that's going to happen tomorrow. The anticipation, yeah. Like, it's like, oh my God, like we have Benfica. We're so lucky. We could be stressing ourselves right now that it's Real Madrid tomorrow, or like Bayern Munich or Man City or whatever.
We'd smash Real Madrid.
We'd smash them all. But
no, specifically smash Real Madrid because they were lucky they weren't 4-0 down in the last round. But yeah, I agree with
you. Yeah. Well, on a side note, I want them in the final, but we'll see. We'll see what
Chelsea
happens.
will beat them easily, I think. But
we'll see. But yeah, it's like it should be a really memorable away day for us. It's just that if, and I'm still scarred from 2006. When Benfica beat us, I think I was very young. Simao. I was just looking at the lineup.
Michele might have been playing. Sorry, this is the Avi in me. But if Avi hears this, he won't mention it. Avi, me and him had literally about. Sorry to interrupt me. I'll let you go on. But just say this before I forget. We basically had a list of Benfica players when we got them in the round. So it was like Pablo Aimar, Michele, Simao.
Saviola for a bit.
Nuno Gomez.
Yeah. Philippe Robert.
Saviola.
Was it Luis Sao?
Luis Sao, he scored in the first leg.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
I was looking at the teams. I don't know what Rafa Benitez was doing because he had Stevie G on the bench, Didi Hamann on the bench. He probably was fairly confident. We still probably should have won that tie. Benfica had Emmanuel Petit in their team.
Blimey, really? Really? What?
I think so. Well, it says Petit.
No.
That can't be the same one.
Is that another Petit?
No,
I was going to say
he's a Portuguese Petit. Yeah.
Portuguese Petit. Oh.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
About 40 still playing. Fair play to Emmanuel Petit. He's kept that quiet.
No, not that Petit. No.
I've had an Avi moment there.
No, it's fine.
Don't worry.
Avi tried to do insider trading last week in a draft we done, so I wouldn't worry. Whatever we do is not going to stop someone actually muting themselves and making an insider draft. So we're all good, guys. Sorry, Johnny, you won't be know what that was with the draft last week, and yeah, basically there was a bit of corruption involved. He ended up winning anyway, so I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, sorry, Omar. On you go about the Benfica nostalgia.
Yeah, no, I was a very young man, and from the highs of Istanbul to the lows of that, because I remember I really liked that kit. Do you remember that kit we had in that season? It was like the Champions League kit. It was like red with gold on it.
Yeah.
Yes, love that kit.
But yeah, I I was a young person, so I generally actually just cried at that result because I thought we were like the best team in the world at the time. So to wake up and not see it be a nightmare was fairly rough. But I don't think that's going to happen again because for me, this is revenge on 16 years ago. 16 years of.
That's quite a grudge, mate. That's quite a grudge.
Well, no, we beat them, didn't we?
We beat them in the Europa League.
In Europa League, yeah.
Dan Agger back heel, didn't he?
I think Torres scored as well. Cardozo scored.
Yeah, I remember that Europa League Thursday nights. Yeah, I remember.
What time to be alive?
But in general, before we went down a kind of like pessimistic route there, we're all excited for it. So on the Liverpool lineup, I think we could just each take a side of what we think how we're going to go about it. But what would you say straight away in your head, guys? Do you think Omar mentioned rotation? Thinking about City coming up this weekend, I'll start with Alex. Go to you, mate. Do you think that Liverpool look to rotate, and any rotation to a certain extent? Do you think they'll even think about City at the weekend, or do you think all focus will be on tomorrow's game?
Also, I'm not a Liverpool fan for the full context. People watch me. Should know.
No, that's fine. Just
yeah, of course.
He's been on this channel enough. He is a Liverpool fan at heart.
Building up my opinion. I'm saying that whenever I've watched Liverpool, it's generally been the same lineup. It won't matter what day. Like it's always more or less same lineup. Like Salah always starts. Something I noticed. Trent is always starting. Van Dijk's always starting. So I don't feel like could be wildly wrong. That's why I prefixed it. But I think Klopp is too bothered about the sort of rotation. I think you have an eye on it, like at the weekend. So maybe what he might see is like early substitutes if things are going well. But I reckon he'll attack this tie as if it is like a big UCL tie and give him the full respect, because I think he knows if he doesn't do that, could be caught cold.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, don't have to take that. I agree with what you're saying there, mate. I think you are right to quite a bit of extent. I'll let the other guys come in. I would maybe just add the only thing I think Klopp thinks about, just from my opinion, is in general, right, in his head, there's bankers to start who, if they're fit, they're always going to start. The only question is, we have 5 attackers now, the 5 forwards, right? But if whatever 3 picks, it's not like you're bringing, and it's no disrespect, 'cause I think he's been good, but it's not like you're bringing a Riga or a Minamino in. Like either of those 3 is a strong team. Like to me, in my head, I know it's rotation technically, but in my head, that's more that's up there with your strongest lineup.
Yeah.
Which either 5 you pick depending on the form they're in, the fitness and stuff like that. I feel like fullbacks are bankers, centre backs are banker as well. You got the Kanate thing there as well. But I think you're right, mate. I think the only question it really comes into it, Alex, I think a good point, is just in midfield sometimes. It does look at, right, who's played recently or who's best suited for this match. He's got his midfield 3 that he will always choose, his favourite, but I think he does kind of take fitness into consideration, I think, with the midfield, because he knows how much the Liverpool midfield work. So just I wanted to add that. But Omar, I wanted to get your thoughts, mate. What do you think tomorrow? Because I know you mentioned the City game coming at the weekend. Do you think you'll make a few changes with that in mind?
Well, I think Alex is right in the sense that it does look like a very similar team. I think Klopp's been very cute with what he's done when he has made changes. I think that Alisson's a banker. Trent will come back in. Robbo, Van Dijk are bankers. It's that sense about Nuñez in the comments makes a great comment about we've seen a lot of Joe Gomez recently. Does he sort of go in next to Van Dijk? I can't see it, but I can see Kanate going in because Kanate started at Inter, didn't he? So Klopp has thrown him into the big games. I mean, he threw him into the United game, so I can see Kanate in there. I think Fabinho coming back in. He was playing in La Paz in Bolivia, which is horrendous climate to play in. So giving him the break on the weekend was right. I think he comes in. I think Jordan Henderson still starts. It's that because I know he wants to manage Thiago's minutes, and Thiago played 90 pretty much on the weekend. he'll want to start Thiago. I think what Klopp has to his advantage is the 5 substitutions. I think they're in the Champions League, they're so crucial. And we've seen him make on numerous occasions 2 or 3 subs in 60 minutes. So I think he will want to attack
Inter, especially Omar. Inter's the prime example. Done it in 2 ties against Inter. 60 minutes. Henderson on with Keita. I think it was in the against Inter away as well. So really good point, mate.
I think with Thiago and Keita, I think Keita was back in training today. I don't know how fit he is, but I can see from now until the end of the season, Klopp utilising them in that sort of left central midfield role on like a 60-minute, 30-minute basis, or like a 70-20, because they're very similar players and they probably do that job for us best in terms of like ball retention. I thought Thiago was amazing defensively, by the way, on the weekend, just as a side note. But I think Salah's a bank. I've seen rumours on Twitter about resting him, but no, Mo Salah will start the game. It's the other 2 positions up front. I just don't know what to do.
Not sure now. Well, what to do? Hold that, Omar, and we'll finish the show our predicted lineup, and we'll maybe just, John, I'll come at yourself to change up a bit and speak about tactics-wise tomorrow. How do you think Liverpool approach it? Do you think it'll just be copy and paste of Inter away? Just we'll go and play our game and put it onto them and not worry about what the opponents are doing as much.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what we're going to do. I think the front 3 is going to be Salah, Jota, and Diaz. I think he'll use Diaz's knowledge of Benfica and how he's torn them to shreds in the past. I think he'll look to use that, especially if you look at Man City at the weekend. We'll need a hard-working front 3. So the front 3 at the weekend, I feel like, will be Bobby, Salah, and Diaz again. I mean, where's Mane going to get his minutes? But I can definitely see Diaz starting tomorrow. I think he'll be quite important tomorrow. And it's just on midfield. Omar made a good point there with Keita. Keita and Thiago, they'll literally switch in, switch out. I think if Keita was fully fit, he would start tomorrow. But as it stands, I reckon probably Thiago will start again, and we'll play a similar game to what we did at Inter. But I don't think we will have anywhere near the same amount of difficulty.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I would say the 2 games Thiago struggled this season was Inter, both ties against Inter. I would say he was below par in both of those games because of the way Inter pressed him and got around him. And just in general, I don't know if that's maybe the formation they played as well.
Do you know what? Yeah, sorry to cut you off. But
on you go.
I watched Lazio under Simeone Inzaghi, and they were really good. I felt like Lazio always outperformed under Simeone Inzaghi. So when he went to Inter, I thought this is the perfect job for him. I think people just assumed Inter were just going to be pushovers because Conte had left, and he had taken, Lukaku had gone, Hakimi had gone. But Inzaghi is a very good manager, and I think he showed it across the 2 legs against Liverpool.
I think so as well. Playing Sanchez second leg, I think was genuinely, Sanchez doesn't get sent off. That's a much harder obviously, it's a much harder 20 minutes, but that was a present for Liverpool when he got sent off. I thought that was good tactics, to be honest. I was more impressed with that than the first leg. I thought they were good in the first leg. However, I thought I was more impressed with that because that is obviously a manager who looks into our weaknesses, or not weaknesses, but areas we've struggled with. As I said, Trossard, false 9, overloading the midfield, dropping in, causes more problems than a Chris Wood up front, just lumping it long, because Van Dijk will deal with that all day long. So I actually was very impressed with Inzaghi from that, to be honest, mate. But
his team works so hard at Anfield. Like
34-year-old Vidal making last-minute blocks was unbelievable.
It was like they seem to just overload every phase, and I haven't seen a team do that at Anfield.
Yeah,
probably since Brighton.
No, it was honestly, it was really impressive. I was impressed. Like I still think like we hit the post twice and deserved to win, but you can have mixed feelings towards the game. You can still think your team deserved to win, but credit the opposition. So
from the person who came on this channel said Liverpool will win, but very, very narrowly, which came true. I would say Benfica will be probably much easier than Inter. So
I just hope we don't have a repeat of a few seasons ago when we beat Porto 5-0 away, and then they came back to Anfield and it was that drab 0-0. It was like the worst
I'd love that,
I've
mate.
ever
I'd
seen.
love that.
No, but
Yeah.
I don't. I want it to be like a 3-1, so that the tie is sort of slightly still open, so we keep the intensity.
You can
'Cause I
do one,
find-
mate. I want
Yeah.
a 5-0. Like
I just-
Tyler
that's
Morton in the
the-
second leg.
That's
I'm
the
sure.
Benfica in you, Johnny.
Yeah.
That's the
No,
Benfica
honestly,
in you.
I feel like whenever Liverpool drop the intensity, like whenever they have an easy game, like they have like a hangover for a couple of games, and it's like,
That's not a bad point, mate. I'm just thinking with the schedule we've got, we can maybe
Yeah.
use a game where we
Yeah.
could have a rest in legs. However, listen, I do think you've got points because I've seen Liverpool go to Marbella or La Manga, and come back and look like they've not trained for a month.
Because they're on the
you
golf
know,
course, Con.
Exactly.
They're on the
No,
golf
you
course.
say that,
Exactly.
but for a team that constantly goes on a bit of intensity and rhythm, I do get your point, Johnny. I do get it, mate. But I do think in this schedule, I'm going to change my opinion. I think we could do with a game where Tyler Morton and get Jones and Tyler Morton in midfield in the pivot.
Yeah.
I know that's not going to happen, but still, but just on the tactics, we'll all agree. Then you think Liverpool just control the game, just like they've been playing all season, and just take their game on to Benfica. And as I say, I think that will be the case. But regarding the final lineup, if we just run through that now, so we all agree Alisson starts. We all agree with that.
Yeah.
Anybody? Nuñez mentioned about Gomez. Does anybody think Gomez will start at right back tomorrow?
No.
No, I still don't believe that Trent injury, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like,
It's very much
He's-
he's injured.
It's the international call-up injury.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. In fairness, so Robbo, he said Robbo was sick, and Robbo did play the second friendly for Scotland. So that was a surprise. I was quite confused with that one. Because we just had 2 friendlies, so there wasn't any competitive games. So I was surprised why he played Robertson, to be honest. But on that then, so Trent right back. Omar, you think Konate will play centre back?
Yeah, I think Konate plays centre back.
Or Van
Just
Dijk,
because
probably?
Klopp has that option to rotate there. And then I think for Klopp, it's for him, Matip and Van Dijk are his go-to pairing. But if you can give Matip a rest, and I think there was a comment about Matip banging his head. Yeah, Nuñez said it here. So perhaps that's just a bit of precaution. I don't know, but I can just see Konate getting in there. Just for just because you can. We can do it now. We can. And I get that point about Nuñez and Rafa Silva, but at the same time, I don't see Klopp making individual changes for individual players much. So I would be surprised if he made that change. But yeah, I think Konate.
I
Konate
could
for rotation as well. That's yeah.
Fair enough, guys. I'm going to go in Matip just because every time I say Konate this season, he plays Matip instead. And I just think he does love Joe Matip more than... I think he's maybe his favourite defender ever, more than Van Dijk. I genuinely think Van Dijk loves Matip more than Van Dijk. I think we hear a lot of people talk about Joe Matip. He's just...
I mean, you've seen the Twitter page, right? Don't we all love Matip?
Yeah, I love him. See when... was it against Inter? It was Inter when he slaps Henderson on the head and Henderson's raging. That is like... If that doesn't sum up a player, I do not know what does. Alex, what do you agree? Do you think it will be a Matip or Konate?
I'd go Konate purely from the knowledge that when you don't wrap Matip in bubble wrap, then it can go horribly wrong. So if there's an opportunity to rest him, you take it.
I was thinking this morning, it's quite incredible. Like touch words, like last season. By this point, all three of them were gone.
Just don't say it.
Why'd you have to say it, Johnny? Why'd you have to say it?
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying by this point last season they're all gone, and that's
Darwin Nunes jumps into Van Dijk, elbows him in the face.
Oh,
lands
Alex,
on Matip's
please,
leg.
Alex, please. It was this game last year at the mini Bernabeu where we had Kabak and Phillips at centre back. So.
Oh my God!
Don't laugh at Nat Phillips. He's got top 4. How many English players have got a Champions League landed in the Champions League with team centre back? So fair play, Nat. But we're playing a high line with Nat Phillips at the Bernabeu. Mini Bernabeu wasn't smart.
Oh my God!
On that then, so I'll change my to Konate. We'll go on unanimous with Konate then. So left back, right? I think it'll be Robertson. What do you guys think?
Robertson.
Yeah.
I think I'm 95% sure it'll be Robbo.
Yeah. Why would it be Shimikas?
just no, he wouldn't. He wouldn't think. No, Klopp wouldn't rotate. Yeah,
I definitely don't think
bring him
against
into second
Rafa.
leg. I think second leg Tsimikas will come in.
Yeah, potentially. If we, no.
On
I think
Sunday against City?
No, not second leg.
Oh, second leg.
Yeah,
second leg Tsimikas will come in. I think.
Well, it depends what
when
the
has he
status
played
of-
Tsimikas in chat? When's he not played the best left back in the world in the Champions League in a knockout game?
No. You're right.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to bring my Robbo agenda on it, but literally, if it was Trent, you'd never question it. But for some reason,
I was backing this. I was backing your Robbo agenda from the start. I remember there was big push for Tsimikas, and I was like, no, Robbo's going to come get it.
Robbo was in poor form. Don't get me wrong. Tsimikas is brilliant. I'm only joking. I just think it's like. Even with a defensive aspect, I think that's why Klopp always plays Robbo in these games, because he knows that even at even games with Liverpool aren't 100%, 90% of the time Robbo's solid defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Robertson only has one less assist than Trent Alexander-Arnold. As a non-Liverpool fan, that's very much a surprise.
I'll tell you a better assist than that. Andy Robertson's got more Premier League assists than Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he's 4 off breaking record.
Although he was playing in the Prem longer than
that's
for Hull City.
I advocated Andy Robertson from Hull. This is my best find ever.
Look, to be fair to Robbo,
I went to West Ham versus Hull at the Olympic Stadium, and
that must have been a sleepy day.
It was a one. I think it was 1-0 Mark Noble. So yeah, very sleepy. But I saw this man running up and down the left wing, and he
absolute engine.
And I was like,
it's all the Iron Brew, mate. It's the Iron Brew. That's why.
And it was the season we had James Milner at left back, and I was like, this guy could do a job at Liverpool. I think he rattled a shot in from like 25 yards, like off the like top corner of the crossbar. And I was like, yeah, this guy could do a job. So when I saw Klopp go for him, I was like, you know what? Get me in the scouting department.
Yeah, no, and all jokes aside, like Robbo's been great. I was a Scotland fan, so I seen him at Scotland set up, and at Dundee United, he was only there for one season, got Young Player of the Year. So I'd seen him, and I knew what he's like. But to be fair, you still wouldn't imagine the trajectory he's been on in the last 5 years. It's pretty remarkable, to be honest. But in general, if Tsimikas comes in, I wouldn't lose sleep. I think Tsimikas is actually probably one of the best deputy fullbacks in the Premier League, if not the world.
I still think it's too much of a risk to play him tomorrow against Rafa's speed because of his match fitness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, unanimous. Go for Robertson there then. So midfield, I'm just going to assume we're all going to say Fabinho,
Yeah.
Right. So then the other two, for me, Thiago. Do everyone agree? And any other bets? I know you mentioned Keita, but I still think he'll play Thiago tomorrow. Alex,
if Keita was 100%, yeah.
I'm thinking Thiago is the sort of right-hand side, then someone more progressive on the left.
No, I think it'll be Thiago on the left. Thiago's not actually usually on the left.
Okay, Thiago left.
Yeah, and then right side, I'm going to go for Hendo. What's your thoughts, Omar?
I would want Fab, Thiago, Hendo, because I think that's our best midfield. And I'm like 80% sure he'll do it. But look, we saw Harvey Elliott get thrown into the San Siro, so we've seen Klopp do some weird things.
Yeah.
Good point. But I don't think Curtis Jones covered himself in glory on the weekend. I think he's a tremendous young talent, but I don't think he had the best game. So, I guess Fab. If Keita had a bit more momentum, I'd have gone with Fab, Keita, Hendo. But yeah, I think Fab, Thiago, Hendo. But I can see Klopp doing that 60-minute thing where he takes a couple off.
Can maybe put Hendo on the bench potentially. I don't think this will happen, but you can maybe see Keita coming in and then he brings Hendo on at 60 minutes.
Yeah. No, go on.
Go on. Oh, you go, Johnny. No, you go.
Do you think maybe he shoves Harvey on the left and plays Henderson on the right? As a little
not after that performance. I think it was a reality check for a lot of people that young players are inconsistent, and we've been saying that for about he played 5 games in 6 games, and people are saying he should play 20 games for the end of the season. But I think young players are inconsistent, and I think that proved it, which is a good thing actually, because I think there has to be a bit of you don't want to burn them out,
grounding him as well.
Yeah, and I think he's tremendous. He's got unbelievable, but I think for me, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. I wouldn't be surprised if play Jones because he has got that 5 sub rule that he can bring on. But I do think if you look at the Inter game as well, like the midfield in general lacked control in the first half, especially the first leg. So I can't see that. But listen, you never know. We've said this, he'll probably play Ox in the midfield three now. You never know with Klopp.
We're on it back. Quarter-final UCL Ox. We're on it back.
Mate, you never know, man. Honestly, that I watched that goal against City. You know, when the one he done the one in the league first, and then he done the one in the Champions League. That was unreal. What a strike!
Few weeks that was. Oh.
Yeah, and then he got injured against Roma, and I actually felt so sorry for him at that time when he got injured.
He was so good for us. We could have really done with him in the final.
He was so explosive that season. He was so explosive.
So impactful. He really, really was. But on that then, so we'll agree with that midfield. We'll go with that. But as you say, we wouldn't be surprised if Klopp tries to do a bit of a wild card there. This is where it's going to get interesting, guys. Front three. I'm going to do everybody individually because that's the best way. So, Johnny, I'll start with you. Who's your front three for tomorrow, mate?
Salah, Jota, Diaz.
Salah, Jota, Diaz. Omar?
Salah, Jota, Mane.
Oh. Alex, I know you're neutral, but just go for it, mate.
I'm going to be different for the fun of it. Salah, Firmino, Diaz.
I like that, actually. That's a good show.
Hard work in front three.
I've rationale behind it, which we'll get onto.
Well, let's right. Okay, Johnny, give me your rationale for why you picked that front three then.
I think Diaz knows Benfica well, and Klopp will know what he's done to Benfica in the past, and he'll play him.
Do you think he tried to play that off today when he says I couldn't understand what he was saying? When he asked
100%. He
4D chess, 4D chess by Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, Klopp's very intelligent like that, and I also think that he'll want to play Firmino at the weekend. He'll have one eye on City. Firmino will be there, and look, Mane could start. We could see our classic front three at the weekend. So I think he'll want to start Jota and Diaz. Jota's found his form again, so I think he'd be right to play him in a game like this, especially where he's going to get loads of chances.
It's you know what, mate? It's a fair argument. It really is, because like this is when you've got depth. It's unbelievable. Omar, what's your kind of rationale for your front three?
Salah, banker. For me, Salah and Mane are still Klopp's go-to guys on the wings. I know Diaz is there, but for me, Klopp still sees them. If we had a final tomorrow, it would be Salah, Mane. I think Firmino as well. I think Firmino's excellent in the Champions League because you need someone up there who can make the ball stick, and there's no one better than him at making the ball stick and linking play. I just think Klopp does have an eye on the weekend, and Firmino's fitness has not been like very consistent this year. But I think Firmino's a banker for City because we're going to need him in there so much more than we'll need Jota.
Did he go with Brazil?
No, he didn't. So he could play, but I just think Jota's he just has that touch, and like you can just see it away in Europe, like him just breaking the deadlock.
Right, I think it's a fair point. I hear what you're saying, mate. I do see it. And he scores in Portugal. He scores in Portugal quite a lot as well. Obviously, the national team, and he obviously played in the league. So maybe there's some good omens there. I'm actually going to agree with Alex though. I do think Inter Milan away when Firmino came on is a big difference, as well as Henderson and Keita, especially because we couldn't really the ball wasn't sticking up top. Now you can maybe argue that was a control in general, and midfield wasn't great that game. So I do get the Jota shouts, mate, but I think it will be Salah, banker. I don't know where these rumours are coming from unless anyone knows more information than me, but I don't know why you wouldn't start Salah in a first leg of quarter final. Suddenly the narrative now is Harry Kane's the best player in the league. Honestly, see reactionary bias on Twitter does my head, and just uninstall the app for 5 minutes. I heard one is Harry Kane a better passer than Trent. It's just if it's a slow news day. Honestly, Harry Kane, Tottenham are literally not even officially in fourth yet with games in hand, but somehow
did he not
he's having a better season than Salah. It's mad.
Did he not score his first league goal against us not that long ago?
Exactly. But that's, you know what, mate, it's a slow news day, it's the usual. But on that, for me, I think it'll be Firmino, Salah, Firmino, and Diaz. I think the Diaz thing, especially in Portugal, I think you use that as an asset. However, you've got the subs there as well, guys. So I could easily see it being any Johnny, your shout, or Omar shout as well. And you got the subs to change it. I think that's the beautiful thing about having depth for us. But it's going to be interesting.
I was going to say, I think, like, to touch on the Firmino thing, my rationale behind him starting would be, I'm in agreement with Johnny and Omar that Diaz is a good weapon for this, almost like a secret weapon, someone who's used to playing against Portuguese sides and Porto. So I think naturally it makes him a good fit. And the best way to get a good the way to get the best out of him would be trying to get him in the forward positions the most. And in my head, I'm thinking if you have Jota, someone whose heat map shows he spends a lot of time in the box, then that's taking the potential away for Diaz to get room there. Whereas if you have Firmino, the one who drops the deepest of the front three, that leaves room in behind for Diaz, space for Diaz to rush into and gets the best out of him.
What we've not seen from Diaz at Liverpool is something he used to do at Porto. He can smack one from outside of the box as well. He can hit them. And I think he could have a bit of space to do that tomorrow.
It'd be interesting. What I would say as well, though, it's like shout out to like Jota. He's not been in the greatest form, but at the start of the season as well, he was doing a passable version of Firmino. So it's not like he can't do it. And Grizz has just said that'll be our quickest free. It would be if you had Diaz, Salah, and
Jota.
Did you say Jota? Yeah, right now, because I'd say Jota's faster than Manny now. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. So we've covered our predicted lineups, Benfica's predicted lineups, the tactics, how we're going to approach it. Now we're just going to finish off soon, guys. But I just wanted to touch on the score prediction for tomorrow and scorers. You can't not include scorers. So Johnny, as you're our guest, mate, you can go first. What do you think the score will be tomorrow? You can be nice to Benfica as well, because obviously you've been very nice on the show, so you can make it 2-1 if you want a low and win.
No, I'm not going to go 2-1. I'm going to go 3-1. I think Salah's going to have a brace. I think we're going to see Salah return from AFCON properly, and I think. I don't know. Henderson's been fancying a cheeky Champions League goal this season, so 1 from Henderson, 2 from Salah, and I think on the other side, it'll be 3-0, I reckon, and then we'll fall asleep towards the end, and it'll be a silly little whipped-in ball, and we'll concede to probably like a Otamendi corner head up in the corner.
That's like Militao, wasn't it? A Porto away, or was it 5-4? Was it 3? Maybe 3-4-0 at the time. Then Militao scored. Ironically, Militao I think is a very good defender following that, but he scored from a corner.
I was at Anfield in the Champions League quarterfinals. The year we won it in 2019. Militao had a great game against us.
The 0-0,
he was incredible. Oh my god.
Was that the 0-0 or was that the 2-0?
That was a 2-0.
Kate and Firmino. Kate and Firmino, Trent ball across,
Musa Marega was playing that game, and he was apparently suffering from he was throwing up the night before. That's why he was useless.
I remember for like the 3 years we played Porto in the spin or whatever, it was always Porto fans going, just you wait until you come up against Marega. He did nothing against us.
He was useless. Credit to their manager for getting a song from him in the league, because he's useless.
So listen, there's always these players you remember for the ties as well. So, Alex, what's your prediction for tomorrow?
I'm going 2-0 Liverpool away at Benfica. I think for everything we said, I think Benfica will still be quite tough to break down in some ways, but at the same time, Liverpool have the quality to unlock them. And despite their talent up front, I think Liverpool are good enough to keep a clean sheet. So I'm saying 2-0 first leg.
Good shout, mate. Just in the comments as well, folks, just put your predictions in. I meant to say your predictions and goal scorers for the tie. Omar, let's go. This is the one I'm going to put my bet on. What's your score prediction for tomorrow?
Oh, you do not want to put your bet on this, mate.
4-0.
It actually was 4-0.
I could see it happening, to be fair.
4-0. I think maybe it's just that whole thing of us going to Portugal, and we've humbled Porto enough times that Porto fans probably want to see us do it to Benfica. But yeah, I'm actually going to go 4-0. I can just see us. 2 for Salah.
That's such an Avi shout. If Avi's listening, that's such an Avi shout.
What, 4-0?
Yeah, Avi loves the big. He called 5-0 against Watford, but believe me, he predicted 5-0 for like 10 games this season, so it doesn't count, right?
Someone's got to be bold. I'll go 4-0. I'll go 2 for Salah, I'll say Trent will score a free kick, and no, Diaz back in Portugal will get one. And
That's not a bad shout, by the way, mate. I think that could happen, especially Diaz and Salah brace.
Grizz knee slide in Istanbul.
I feel a little bit sorry for Porto fans because we've pulled their pants down 3 times. We've beaten them twice in the Champions League, and then we took their best player.
Yeah, I know. It does actually see the last time when we smashed them again away from home. I was a bit like, this is a bit much now. I think we just need to stop and just pass the ball.
It's quite enjoyable. Yeah,
no, it would be. I imagine it's double enjoyable for you, Johnny. Definitely. But for me, I'm going to be more. I think Alex's shout is good, but I'm going to go for 1-0. I do think it would be kind of similar to the Inter game, and I think the way the Inter game worked was, I think we forget Salah's goal kind of comes late in the game. We probably would have taken the 1-0. Firmino's goal comes at a great time, so I think I could see us winning 1-0. Just kind of work out how Benfica approach it, and then I hope we win by more. I think 1-0. Yeah, I think 1-0 clean sheet, because I was going to say 2-1, but I think 1-0 we're in quite defensive good form. So 1-0 for me, come back to Anfield. Ideally, I'd love to win 4-0, but I can't see that happening. But listen, I could be wrong.
It's a quarter final at the end of the day. You never know.
Yeah. No, exactly. I usually say this because in my head, I'm like, I want it to be 7-0, or it could be, but I don't say that out loud.
You're playing a bit of reverse psychology there.
That's what I do. That's what we all do. But before we finish up, guys, obviously, thanks very much for your time. Anything else you want to add or speak about for the tie tomorrow? Anything you just want to mention? I know Omar's shaking his head. Omar, what do you want to add, mate?
I just want to say to everyone to smash the like button, because if you do that, Liverpool will win the Champions League, and Conroy will win some money on the game tomorrow. So.
Yeah, well, you need to remind me to put the bet on, but I will. Nuñez says 3-0, good shout, mate, and 2-1, Ray. And then Josie says, if Liverpool score early, it might be a disaster for Benfica. Could see that. The one thing about Inter is Inter caused us problems in the first half, and we really couldn't. Our passing in the final third really let us down. So we'll see. And Nuñez just adds, win the quad. That's what I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask before we finish right now, in this moment, tomorrow night, first leg of the quarter-final. Johnny, can we win the quadruple?
Yeah, I said as soon as we won the Carabao.
Do you think we'll win the quadruple?
I think Chelsea might edge us in the FA Cup, but I think we can win everything else. It's I don't know what it is. We seem
I'll take that treble.
Yeah, we seem to be allergic to the FA Cup. Like we haven't won it since 2006, right? And we've been to only one final after that in 2012, and we lost to Chelsea.
Peter Cech saved Andy Carroll on the line.
I mean, it's a trophy. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's a trophy I want to win. Absolutely, I've been wanting Klopp to win it as soon as he got in to complete the set, but I don't know. I've got a sneaky suspicion that the FA Cup will be the one that eludes us, but that's okay.
See, right now, John, if you had to pick one, right, out of the 3 left, you could only win one. What do you choose? Premier League.
Because I want us to get to 20 and then get to 21, and we are back ahead of that lot, and that's it. We can win whatever. We can win the Champions League one year, Premier League another year. We just need to get back ahead of that lot. That's it for me.
Omar, do you agree? Do you say Premier League first, mate?
See, I would. I've always said Prem first because they can stop singing that 20 times song. But there's something so glorious about the Champions League and dramatic and just incredible and beautiful. And I've run out of words. But
it'll bring us up to being the second most successful if we win the 7th.
Yeah. No. Champions League. No, not one. Yeah. Okay. I've clearly internally, my subconscious has wanted to. I was meant to say Prem, but I've said Champions League now, so I'll stick with the champs. I just think it's amazing. It's Europe's best.
And fair enough, mate. And on top of that, do you think we can? Because we obviously can't. Do you think we will win the quadruple?
I don't think we'll win the quadruple until.
Do you like this video?
Yeah, until you like Alex. You know how to run the channel.
I'm inside your mind, mate.
I won't say we'll win the quadruple until I think we can. I won't say we will. until we get out this month, and we're still in all comps. If we're in all comps by May, and we're within 2 points of City or ahead of City, then I'll say we'll win the quadruple. But other than that, no.
Fair enough, mate. And just as a neutral point of view, Alex, do you think Liverpool will win the quadruple?
No.
Where do you think? Where do you think they'll fail?
Fair enough.
Fair enough, mate.
No,
Like,
you
genuinely,
won't. You won't.
I'm the host. I don't have to answer the question, but I wanted to.
It'll be
You
City.
should.
City will still win the league. Because whenever you bet against City, they win it. They're annoying and they win the league. I am not ready to make my Champions League prediction yet, but it will be an all-English final between City, Chelsea, and Liverpool. There'll be one of you there, so I think maybe you're in with a chance of winning that. FA Cup, I'm not gonna lie. When the FA Cup's on, I treat that as a holiday, and I go and watch La Liga or like the Eredivisie.
An international break for you.
So for all I get, you could win the FA Cup. Go for it. But you won't win the quadruple.
Fair enough, mate. What I would just make one point is I've seen a lot of people this week say the Man City, Liverpool don't have to win that game. I don't know if I'm the only one who saw what happened a couple of years ago and would not be surprised if both those teams win every game of the season. So in my mind, if Liverpool have any chance of winning the league, and that might change and I might be proven wrong, but I think they'll win a majority of the games. Like every commentator said they wouldn't, and pundit said they would last 2 years ago, and we're all had egg in their face because they all got it wrong.
Yeah.
Liverpool need to beat Man City. It's that simple to me. That is another cup final. They win that, they can win the league. They don't, I can't see them winning the league. But yeah, just that's my little take on it, and I'll maybe give an answer later. And Nuñez agrees with me. We have to. This can draw. No, because City will not. They may, but you cannot put it. I just cannot see them dropping points. Literally, everyone said Burnley could do that, and they scored in 5 minutes against Burnley. And I just genuinely
look at the history between Man City and Burnley.
Yeah,
Man City are the only team Burnley don't give hassle to.
No, I know. But the thing is, Johnny, right? It's like you go in that game. To my head, it's simple. You need to win. It's that simple, right?
You have to win every game.
I think the draw is no use to us. People have disagreed with me. That's fair enough. I think we need to win. That's a final for me.
So.
But what I was just going to add as well, because this comment, and I can take the mick out myself as well. I said, Harvey Ellison, listen, I was at football. I was sweating, right? This is the hair, right? It's not. I wouldn't usually have it like this, so it looks a bit curly. Okay.
Happy birthday, Harvey Elliott, by the way, wherever he is.
Maybe don't pass on love life advice if you're Harvey Elliott though, because I think
Oh.
What a time! What a time to cut out.
Harvey Elliott has hacked the stream. Guys, because Con's looking like Harvey Elliott today, I think you all should like the video and subscribe. And then
maybe he's going to start.
Yeah. I really don't know what's going on with Con. So Nuñez.
Oh, no, he's back.
There he is.
Yeah, what did I cut out there? I said Harvey Elliott, because obviously I think he had to go on social media to get his girlfriend back, didn't he, recently? And then they got back together, so good for them. But yeah. But anyway, folks, thank you very much for your time. Obviously, I cut out just before, as good timing as always. Appreciate all your thoughts and looking forward to the match tomorrow. Just before we finish up, I don't know, Johnny, I never asked if you've got your Twitter account, and if you want to kind of inform the community where they can find you, I'll just take this off the now so your stuff will come up. So Johnny, go first, mate. Just help yourself.
Yeah, so it's just say it out loud, yeah?
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah. So it's Johnny LFC 93. So Johnny as it's spelt down below. So yeah, and you can see me rambling on about Benfica, Liverpool, Jersey Bulls. That's a club none of you would have heard of, I'm sure of. Yeah, it's a new club. They entered the English leagues in 2019, and they've just been ravaged by COVID ever since.
Sorry to hear that, mate. But I'll check that out, definitely.
Yeah. Honestly, if you ever find yourself in Jersey, you should come to a Jersey Bulls game because it's incredible. We get crowds of 800, and that's quite a lot for a team in the ninth division.
That's good. I was at Edinburgh City. It's a League Two Scottish team, and they get about 400. 500 is a great crowd. So to get that's pretty impressive, mate.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Alex, Euro expert, where can they find you?
Following Johnny's question of whether he should say where they can find him, I'm going to take the opposite approach. You can find me somewhere on Twitter. It will be with the ginger person in the profile picture, and the last picture, which you will enjoy, was Patrice Vieira meme after Arsenal got beaten 3-0 by Palace. So that's your mystery Easter hunt, timely fashion for everyone watching. See if you can find that Twitter account, and well, if you follow me, then I know you won it. There you go.
We're not all famous like Alex, where we can send people on Easter egg hunts to our account.
Can't even spell my name right when people are searching for me. Never mind that. But in all honesty, though, just a quick mention of that Arsenal. That was a bad one tonight. Some result for Palace. We'll see what happens with the top 4 race. Omar, where can the community find you? I know obviously you have Young Bucks anyway, so I don't know if you want to have a shout out now.
Yeah, I mean, you can find me here on Grizzcon TV, asking you to like every video on the channel. Yeah, I run a weekly show with Ben. You might know him, SMX LFC on Twitter, and we've got a show called Young Bucks where Alex has been on. I think Con's still.
Oh, come
eligible.
on, mate! Do you know last week you done the draft? That would have came on. So let me know if you're doing a quiz and draft.
We're gonna do another one soon. We'll get you on.
Yeah, I'll definitely come on to that.
Yeah, so we've got a show on it's Thursday nights, unless otherwise stated on my Twitter, which is there in front of my face. And yeah, we just talk about Liverpool normally, and then sometimes we get people like Alex on to give us a look at European football or something else. So I have no idea what we're doing on Thursday. We'll probably look at the City game because that's going to be the talk of the town, isn't it? And that gets all the clicks.
Yeah, we're not touching that now. Save the likes and the clicks for that, mate.
I'm already nervous about it now.
Yeah, don't start. I'm not even thinking about that. But again, folks, thanks for your time. Thanks for all the chat as always, top notch. And we'll be back tomorrow night. A bit of a preview this week. We've got the post match tomorrow. Be myself and Kiefer on. I have to confirm a few more guests. Grizz, he might duck in, but he won't be attending that show. And the rest of the week, I think it will be the pre-match for City. We'll confirm on that, but definitely a post-match tomorrow to everyone. So yeah, thanks all, and to everyone, good night, and we'll see you soon. Take care. It's been Grizzcan TV. See you later. Cheers.